I thought it was crazy. He tended to be a little more rational about it.
No, I had heard about it through Pete Siegel and Billy Gerber. I met them at a party. I think that's how I remember. They said, you know, tell about this idea about the fighters, da da da. And I said, yeah, okay, you know, send me the script, I think, and then I had to have read it, and then I thought, but all the while they were thinking about somebody else or mentioning that approach somebody, and I always said in the back, I was always saying in the back of my head, we probably always saying in the back of our head that he has to be in it, otherwise it's, you know, just won't be. I'm still asking that question. No, he's a like a kind of a classic, kind of fuck up. He doesn't with his kids. You know, well, he had a one night thing with his girlfriend, which messed everything up, and had a child and that's unresolved. And so he's in the story. He's mad at me about that. We had two fights. And the third one I'm trying to get him to do, but I really know why he's upset about that. And I'm doing fine. I have a car dealership. I have a bar. I'm kind of lived a good life. I'm not really you know, kind of a classic. It seems certain types of fighters they unwind. You know, once they win a title or two or whatever, they just sort of let go of themselves. And he's more like, I don't know what you'd say, purist.
Boring.
Well,
Very
you know,
withdrawn kind of guy. Who's
and
well, would you repeat that again? Because I missed the first part.
what?
No. Actually, we're just, I think, very similar. But once this thing happens, we become polar opposites. He becomes, you know, he drinks. He's a little more wound up, a little more angry. I tend to be withdrawn. I go into a furnace or, you know, work in a steel mill, kind of a metaphor for like hell or purgatory, that kind of a thing. And so we're both broken people over this stupid event. And Kim Basinger is the lynch because she was my girlfriend. Then she thought I was having an affair. I wasn't. And in a moment of emotional outrage, she has an affair with him, and it's a classic mistake, but it destroys all our lives. And so the movie is putting them all back together. How do you put the pieces back together? We're not the same people, but we still have this desire to have some good life because none of us have a good life. None of us.
I thought Pete did a really terrific job. He kept it. He's got a great sense of humor. He kept the humor on
Yeah.
point, and also the dramatic side of it. And I think he balanced it well.
I thought it was horrible. I would never use him again. My God, how did he get this job?
And he does a good Stallone imitation.
Oh yeah. Oh please. You know, he's excellent. You know, I have to admit, I made his life miserable for a long time because I kept, you know, vacillating. Yes, in out. You know, those kind of things. But he got it. He really lived this story. It was in his brain. Everyone involved. Michael Ewing and Billy Gerber, who really, you know, was there every second of the time. So I have to admit, this team was focused more than anyone I'd worked with before. They knew what they wanted, and it was under cold conditions, and you know the boxing. And I know it's nerve-wracking because I'm used to the ring, but they weren't, and they had to like make a boxing movie with Raging Bull and Rocky. Hello, that's kind of intimidating. They pulled it off.
Well, Sylvester has a guy he's worked with for about 10 years named Rob Sally's great ex-boxer and trainer, and he brought him in, and he trained me and then taught me the choreograph that he had created in California, and we worked on both, I in New York and he in LA, and then we came together in New Orleans, but
Right.
he was great. This guy was made it.
See, so he was training with Rob on his side. My thing was not so much training. I was just like, I was banged up from the last movie. I still had my foot in the boot and stitches and everything else. But it was all about the choreography and how is it going to be age appropriate, still interesting, but when you do boxing choreography, it can either be some slapdash or punch out, which you've seen in many fights. You go, it's so boring, or you have to tell a story with punches. Believe it or not, it's like notes, boom, 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 and when you go too far, it becomes, oh, that's a bit too real, or a little insidious, or that's cruel, and you dislike the guy. I mean, there's a lot to it. Believe it or not, I learned the hard way. There is. So, but the hard part is he's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, and it's like we're training for Swan Lake, but we've never danced together. And like, oh, the curtain comes up and goes, God, I didn't know you really are a terrible dancer, or you're a great dancer. You don't know what you're going to get. And then, but he came to New Orleans, we moved around for a day or so, and voila.
So he came to New Orleans, I met him, and he came and he started doing all this. I said, holy shit, what did I get myself into?
I went dancing, like moving. I went, uh-oh. Every one of them's a star. Obviously, every one of them has had their own stellar career, or careers that are going to be stellar, and held their own films. So when you put that kind of cast together, it's half the work is done, because you know they're going to deliver something unique, and that's, I mean, I bet if you put the cast equivalence of how long we've been in the career, it's probably about 8,000 years. I mean, there's a lot. We've been here around. Everyone's been in the career a long time, except for Kim, of course, is you know. But I mean, there's a lot of experience here, and I was really swept up by it. I mean, Alan Arkin, just working with him, everything he says is good. You know what I'm saying? Even he goes, oh, I don't like that. I go, it's still good. Even remember?